Luke Skywalker is the most powerful Jedi, and I'm about to tell you why. First off, this doesn't include anything from the legacy, so canon only. So the movies, the TV show, and the books and comics that came out fairly recently since Disney has bought them out. This also means no Super Saiyan Luke Skywalker. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, this is when Luke Skywalker went into some kind of super chosen one mode and was an all-powerful being. We're not including that because that, once again, is part of legacy. So why is Luke Skywalker the most powerful Jedi? Well, in order to answer that, let's take a look at Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Luke's first appearance is when he's entering Jabba's palace shortly after R2-D2 and C-3PO. And his first encounter is with some Gamorrean guards trying to block his way. Now he's able to pass through these guards by waving his hand at them, and suddenly they're backing off, clutching their throat, and then they fall to the ground. But wait a second. Clutching their throat? If there's anything we've learned from Star Wars saga, it's that when somebody's clutching their throat, it's because they're being force choked. So Luke Skywalker is force choking these Gamorrean guards? He's using dark side powers? Well, the answer to that is in the 6th season of the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. In Episode 11, Qui-Gon Jinn comes to Yoda as an ominous voice and tells them that in his lifetime, he's discovered a way to become one with the Force and a way for life after death. Due to his Jedi training, Yoda had actually become afraid of the dark side, which is kind of ironic. However, in order to balance himself with the Force, he was going to have to learn to accept it as a part of him. Something he later taught Obi-Wan. So what does this have to do with Luke Skywalker using dark side powers? Well, somehow Luke Skywalker has figured out how to balance the light side and the dark side as one. To put this into perspective, Luke has achieved something that took Yoda 900 years, plus some magical ghost people, along with some seriously grueling challenges, to actually accomplish. Yet Luke somehow learned to balance the Force naturally, without any training, something that no one else in the canon has ever done before. Now I realize that there are other Jedi in the canon who have used the dark side along with the light side, such as Mace Windu. However, they're still using it as two separate entities, the light and the dark, as opposed to one force, such as Luke. Now how I know that Luke is using this as one force as opposed to two separate entities? Well, let's take another look. If you notice when Luke uses the ability, there's no rage, there's no hate or fear, which are common characteristics of a dark side user. There's one other thing we can take from this scene though. Did you notice that when Luke used the ability, he's kind of waved his hands? Unlike a normal dark side user who would really put emphasis into trying to choke the person. While it's unclear exactly why this is so effortless for Luke, there are two possible options. Either when a normal dark side user uses force choke, they put so much rage into it that they really emphasize what they're doing, or using the Force had just become so effortless for Luke. Don't worry though, I'm not going to stay on this scene forever. Something that the prequels taught us is that it's not easy to become a Jedi. And even after all that training, many of them never become very skilled in using the Force. However, Luke certainly made it look easy, didn't he? After approximately 4 years, he went from a moisture farmer to a Jedi Knight. I mean, Luke was able to start feeling through the Force practically right after Obi-Wan told him he could. Luke, use the Force. Wow! Now that you told me I can feel the Force, I can sense everything. Now before you say Luke isn't a Jedi, and I know that there are those of you out there thinking it, if you watch the movies, you would notice that Yoda says that Luke will become a Jedi once he confronts Darth Vader at the Battle of Endor. Which he does, so therefore Luke is a Jedi. Now I have one last reason why Luke Skywalker is the best. And it's because he can compete with this guy. When George Lucas originally thought of lightsaber combat, he wasn't expecting it to become what it turned into in the prequels. And if he had known that, this fight would have looked a lot more like this fight. So the fact that this whiny kid at the back end of Tatooine can compete with an extremely well-trained killing machine is certainly impressive. And with Darth Vader's appearance in his new comic book as well as other books and comics that have been coming out recently, we know that this Dark Lord of the Sith is no chump. So the next time someone tries to tell you that Luke Skywalker is lame, lay down some knowledge on their force-filled behind, or refer to this video. Hi, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and the like button. And if you have anything to say, write it down in the comments. Mason, who makes these videos, also has a radio talk show called the Video Game News Show, which happens every Monday at 11 a.m. You can find the link to the Facebook page in the description. May the Force be with you always.